There is a bird that never sees winter. It chases summer from one end of the earth to the other every year of its life. Somewhere over a cold northern sea, a small white bird lifts off the water, turns south, and begins one of the greatest journeys in all of nature. It is not much bigger than your hand, and it weighs about as much as a small apple. Yet this fragile little traveler is about to fly almost the entire length of the planet, and then, months later, turn around and fly all the way back. This is the Arctic tern, and its life is a story of almost endless flight and of a sun it refuses to lose. The Arctic tern nests in the far north, in the brief bright summer of the Arctic, where the sun barely dips below the horizon. It raises its chicks under that endless daylight, feeding them on tiny fish snatched from the surface of the sea. But as the northern summer fades and the light begins to fail, something ancient stirs in the bird. Rather than face the coming darkness and cold, it does something extraordinary. It leaves and sets its course for the opposite end of the world. Flying south for months on end, it crosses the whole planet, all the way to the icy seas around Antarctica. There, it arrives just in time for the southern summer, stepping from one endless daylight straight into another. For a few months, it lives in the far south, and then, as that summer fades in turn, it lifts off and begins the long journey home. Scientists once believed this round trip covered around 30,000 kilometers, already an astonishing distance for such a small animal. But when researchers finally fitted a few turns with tiny trackers, the truth turned out to be even stranger. The birds do not fly in a straight line, they follow long, looping routes that trace the richest feeding grounds and the most helpful winds. Along those winding paths, a single tern can cover as much as 70 to 90,000 kilometers in a single year, more than twice around the Earth. And it does this not once, but again and again for as long as it lives. An Arctic tern can survive for 30 years or more, and in that time its wanderings add up to a truly cosmic distance. Add up all those journeys, and one small bird may fly far enough to reach the moon and come back, not once, but perhaps 3 times over. To understand how such a tiny creature can survive all this, we have to look at how it is built and how it flies. The Arctic tern is slender and light, with long, narrow wings made for gliding rather than constant flapping. It rides the winds over the open ocean, borrowing energy from rising air and sea breezes to carry it forward with very little effort. When it needs food, it hovers for a moment over the water, then plunges down to snatch a small fish from just beneath the surface. In this way, the sea itself becomes an endless string of feeding stations laid out all along the route. The bird never has to carry all its fuel at once. It simply eats as it goes, refueling on the move. It is so at home above the water that it can rest on the waves and even steal a little sleep on the wing. Every part of it, from its hollow bones to its tireless wings, has been shaped by millions of years of traveling. But all of this raises a deeper mystery. How does a bird find its way across half the planet, over featureless ocean, without a single map or road? A young tern, on its very first journey, has never seen the route before and has no older bird holding its wing. Somehow it still knows, more or less, which way to go and where it is meant to end up. Part of the answer lies in something we cannot see or feel at all, the magnetic field of the Earth itself. Our planet behaves like a giant magnet with invisible lines of force curving from one pole to the other. Many migrating birds can sense this field, using it like a built-in compass to tell north from south. Remarkably, this ability seems to be linked to special molecules in their eyes, so that in some strange way, a bird may actually see the direction it should fly. But a compass alone is not enough. To hold a course, you also need some idea of where you already are. For that, the birds turn to the sky, reading the position of the sun as it moves across the day. By combining the sun's height and direction with their own inner sense of time, they can work out their heading with surprising precision. And when the sun goes down, some migrating birds simply switch to the stars. In careful experiments, young birds shown an artificial night sky learn to steer by the way the stars turn around a single fixed point. Between the pull of the magnetic field, the arc of the sun, and the slow wheel of the stars, the tern carries a map written into its very body. Still, one enormous question remains: why go to all this trouble in the first place? Why would any animal spend almost its entire life crossing oceans, instead of simply settling down in one good place? The answer, once again, is the sun and the food that follows it. By flying from the northern summer to the southern one, the Arctic tern lives in almost perpetual daylight. It sees more sunlight in a year than any other creature on Earth, forever chasing the long days from one pole to the other. And where there is summer light, the cold seas explode with life, clouds of tiny, drifting creatures, and the little fish that feed on them. The tern is not really chasing warmth or comfort. It is chasing this endless, moving harvest of food. Each pole in its own summer lays out a feast, and the bird simply follows the table as it travels around the world. Seen this way, its impossible journey is not madness at all, but a brilliant way to live inside an eternal summer. The Arctic tern may be the champion of distance, but it is far from the only master of the long journey. High above the Pacific, another small bird performs a feat that is almost harder to believe. The bar-tailed godwit flies from Alaska all the way to New Zealand in a single, unbroken flight. It does not stop to eat, to drink, or to rest on any island. It simply flies day and night for well over a week. To prepare, it gorges itself beforehand, nearly doubling its weight in fat, while its stomach and inner organs shrink to save space. One tracked godwit crossed more than 13,000 kilometers of open ocean without landing even once. Beneath the waves, great whales make their own migrations, traveling thousands of kilometers between cold-feeding seas and warm, breeding waters. All across the planet, life is quietly on the move, following the food, the light, and the turning of the seasons. But few journeys can match the quiet determination of that one small white bird, crossing the entire world twice a year. So the next time the seasons turn and the light begins to change around you, spare a thought for the Arctic tern. Somewhere out over a distant ocean, it is on the wing right now, following the summer to the far side of the world. It reminds us that even the smallest life can hold the largest kind of courage, and that some journeys are worth making again and again. Follow worth knowing for more things worth knowing.